Hello, good morning. You're watching WION. This is our special coverage of the election day result. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. With me is Mohammad Saleh. And this day, Saleh, couldn't be bigger. It's election day. 5 battlefields, 1 verdict that we're looking at. And on WION, we're getting you an unbiased, factual coverage of every battlefield as those election results come in. Saleh, where are you pinning your hopes today on?
You know, Shreya,
don't say West Bengal. It's the most obvious.
I'll tell you what. Indians by nature are very, very political, and it does not get bigger than this.
Yeah.
Because each of these states that we're talking about today is an outlier state. It is something that has gone against the wind.
That's right.
The political wind that's been blowing in the country. If you look at Bengal, this is going to be such a crucial election. Mamata Banerjee, 3-time Chief Minister, looking to become a 4th-time Chief Minister. Tamil Nadu and Kerala, these are 2 states where the Bharatiya Janata Party, even at the peak of Narendra Modi's wave, has not been able to make a big sort of a dent.
That's right. And Tamil Nadu has Vijay also. Whether we get that Vijay wave, as has been predicted in the exit polls, we'll have to wait and see. But this is going to be an incredible day as we get our viewers.
We'll see as to how things go for Vijay. Because remember, he's come as the new entrant. Can he make a splash? Like some are predicting, that of course is something we'll have to wait and watch out.
Absolutely, and we on WION will be getting you these results. Remember, for our global audiences, this is an incredible day to understand how Indian elections work, because these election results will determine how political parties strategize in the next few months and in the next few years till the 2029 general elections. Every move, every direction that this election takes will have an impact on the general election that is in a few years from now. But first, let's quickly take you through the headlines that we are tracking at this hour.
All right, so this, of course, is the big counting day for the 2026 Assembly elections in West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Kerala, and also the Union Territory of Puducherry. The counting of votes will begin at 8 a.m. local time with some very strict security measures in place.
United Airlines plane hits lamppost and delivery truck while landing at the New York Liberty International Airport. Officials say the Boeing 767 landed safely after arriving from Venice. No injuries reported on the plane.
The UK's Maritime Agency reports a tanker has been hit by an unidentified projectiles off the United Arab Emirates coast near the north of Fujairah. All crew members are reported to be safe, and all ships have been warned to proceed with caution while the authorities are investigating the incident.
Donald Trump says America is conducting very positive discussions with Iran as he unveils a naval escort mission called Project Freedom to guide ships through the blocked Strait of Hormuz beginning Monday. That's today.
The Iranian senior official Ibrahim Azizi warns that any US military involvement in the Strait of Hormuz will be seen as breaking a ceasefire. The statement has come after Donald Trump announced plans for the US forces to escort ships through the strait.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says United States is suffocating Iran's leadership with economic blockade tied to Trump's maximum pressure policy alongside military campaign Operation Epic Fury and Treasury Initiative Economic Fury.
And the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz says that he remains committed to working with Donald Trump and also maintaining some strong transatlantic ties, downplaying the recent war of words and the tensions over Iran, and also about the Americans getting humiliated in negotiations by the Iranians.
A plane carrying Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez makes an emergency landing in Turkey due to technical issues while he was en route to Armenia for a European political community meeting.
The oil prices dropped slightly after Donald Trump said that the United States will help the free ships that are stranded in the Strait of Hormuz, easing the supply concerns, though prices still remain elevated, with Brent crude trading at over $108 per barrel due to the ongoing tensions and the disrupted oil flows.
Well, India is awaiting the results of the assembly elections in 4 states and 1 union territory, which will be declared today. The counting of votes for the West Bengal Assembly, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Kerala and Puducherry assemblies will start at 8 a.m. local time. Remember, the impact of these verdicts is likely to be felt far beyond the boundaries of these states, isn't it?
That's indeed true, Shreya, because this, remember, is an election unlike no other.
Yep.
A lot of people said that after the 2024 general election victory, probably the BJP was going off the steam. The BJP ended up at 240, but since then, look at the performance of the Bharatiya Janata Party, where they managed to win state after state. But these states that we're looking at today, these are the real challenging ones. These are the states where the BJP has not been able to make the kind of impact that it would want to make, despite having what many would say is probably the best election machinery that independent India has ever seen. This is going to be a massive, massive moment. On the one side, we've got Mamata Banerjee, who's hailed as probably the best street fighter of Indian politics, pitted against Chanakya, who's set out the best election machinery on the ground in Bengal. Will it this time be the BJP's election is something that's there up in the air? This is the very crucial battle. But the other states that we are also looking at, in Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma is trying to become third time lucky. Remember, he's originally a congressman who shifted into the BJP and since then has become one of the star campaigners of the BJP and one of those chief ministers who probably also has national ambitions.
Absolutely, and interesting that you mentioned that Himanta was part of Congress party. Similarly, you see in West Bengal where Shubhendu Adhikari was part of the Trinamool Congress and now he's fighting from the Bharatiya Janata Party. He's pitted against himself, of course, against Mamata Banerjee. But whether, BJP will be able to do that or not is, a question of timing. Also, what's interesting and what makes the West Bengal election extremely unique, Saleh, is the fact that you did not have SIR in the previous election. This time around, you had SIR, and the impact of that exercise will be seen for the first time in these election results. So we'll have to wait and see how that
Shreya,
has impacted.
If you look at the many aspects on which this election is being fought, if you look at the key issues that has dominated the Bengal elections, it is SIR that is front and center. This is the political exercise in which some people have said that probably, this is going to have a bigger impact than anything else that is at play at this moment. Because of the exclusion that has happened because of the SIR, a lot of people are saying that probably it is Mamata Banerjee who is at a bit of a disadvantage. But in the past, she's actually had these big ticket victories. So can she take a dent that SIR has made? This is going to be a big crucial question that will be answered in the course of the next 5 hours.
I partly disagree with what you're saying, and we'll discuss that in the next few hours as we take our viewers through these election results, whether Mamata Banerjee is starting off with a disadvantage or an advantage.
She's saying it. No one else needs to say it.
Of course, she's saying it. The BJP continues to say that, she will not be at a disadvantage. But the fact of the matter is that West Bengal remains a crucial battlefield. And what's also interesting, is Saleh. Let's also shift our focus to Tamil Nadu, and we've got our ground reporter from there. He's going to be getting us, Siddharth MP will be joining us, and he's going to be getting us the latest from there, what is happening. Tamil Nadu is going to be extremely crucial as well, not just the fact that Vijay's entry will make or break things, but the DMK once again has been given the, at least in the exit polls, given that number of seats to retain power and Stalin to rewrite history. Whether he does it or not is something that we'll have to wait and see.
Tamil Nadu is an interesting state. A lot of people think that film superstars can come and make a big splash. The last time you had a leader who became a big political star in Tamil Nadu politics was Vijay Kant, who did not become the chief minister. Before that, you have to go to the likes of J. Jayalalitha and M. Ramchandra Rao for these film superstars who in fact made an immediate sort of an impact in Tamil politics. Right now, the manner in which the DMK seems to be entrenched in power, it's really difficult to see, TVK of Vijay making the kind of splash that some of these pollsters have predicted. Because, there was one pollster who said that probably TVK could come up on the top in these elections. Will that happen? Is of course, we'll have to wait and watch.
Are you placing your bets on TVK today?
I would not stick my neck out on TVK. We'll have to wait and watch because he's a new entrant. He's untested in politics. And the Tamil people hold their political leaders to account, unlike the people in any other part of India. Because in Tamil Nadu, a politician has to be accountable to his words, which is why a lot of these schemes that have since been replicated in the north have all emerged in the state of Tamil Nadu. Because Tamil Nadu politics is one of those indicators in which, in many ways, the welfare schemes that India has witnessed, a lot of them have originated in Tamil Nadu. For instance, something as basic as the midday meal scheme. And in Tamil Nadu, this is something that is very interesting, where if politicians make their promises, the voters hold them to account. This happens across the board.
So we'll know that today.
We will get to know that.
Let's quickly go across, Saleh, to our colleague Siddharth MP, who's joining us at the moment. Siddharth, good morning. Get us a sense of what's happening there. This is a big day for Tamil Nadu. You have been getting us ground reports of, the voter sentiment, how the people have been feeling, and it all boils down to this day when we'll get the results. Where are you right now, and what is the sense you're getting?
So I'm at Anna University in Chennai. This is one of the major counting centers. So Chennai has a total of 16 assembly constituencies, and the counting for 5 constituencies in the city will be taking place at this very facility where we are at the university. And as far as the mood on the ground in Chennai, usually election day or results day, it's all completely peaceful in Tamil Nadu. So that itself sets a standard in many ways. So just behind us where we are, it's a main road and it's a working day. It's the start of the week. So traffic is freely flowing. It's just about between 7:30 and 8 a.m. So traffic is freely flowing. For a large part of the city, it is a working day. For the government officials, it's in fact a far more hectic working day. Their days would have begun very early in the morning. But to talk about the mood on the ground itself, we'll have to see how things evolve after 8 a.m. because that's when counting formally starts. And let's see how the trends go, because by 10-11 a.m. we'll get clear trends. But what we also understand is this is going to be a closely fought elections with razor-thin margins because of a third entrant like Vijay, and also smaller parties in the fray that have the potential to cut votes, and the competition between number 1 and number 2 is going to be razor thin.
And also, Siddharth, looking at how people in Tamil Nadu have voted in the past, they've always gone in for some decisive verdicts one way or another, and they generally want to vote the party in power out. This time around, what do you think is expected to happen? How confident is MK Stalin that he's done enough in the last 5 years that he can in fact storm back to power again?
So to talk about some of the statistics, there are cases where parties have stormed back to power. So in the 60s and 70s, the DMK came to power back to back. So one time it was Annadurai as chief minister, and thereafter it was M. Karunanidhi as chief minister. They did come to power back to back. Thereafter, when M.G. Ramachandran was in the political fray between 1977 and 87, as long as he was alive, that 10-year period, he won 3 elections. So that was his level of charisma. Then J. Jayalalitha, 2011 and 2016, back to back she won. And now, of course, the scene has changed. Post Jayalalitha, post M. Karunanidhi, the era has completely changed. The giants of Dravidian politics are no more with us. So this time around, it's a tougher battle. But let's also talk about Stalin's track record as DMK chief. So what's happened is 2019 parliamentary polls, they had a great performance in Tamil Nadu. The DMK and Congress swept Tamil Nadu. Then 2021, the DMK came to power in Tamil Nadu under Stalin as chief minister. Then thereafter, 2024 parliamentary polls as well, the DMK-led alliance swept Tamil Nadu and Puducherry together. So this shows that the DMK has had a pretty decent run, in fact a great run under Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. So that's the summary of the last 5 years. But let's also talk about the other factors at play. It is important to note that DMK has never come back-to-back in the last 50 years. They've never got, after the 60s, they've never got back-to-back terms. So that is one thing that is against the DMK. Then, of course, there's the anti-incumbency factor. Then there are other things that the DMK is banking on, like you mentioned, the welfare schemes. The DMK is also banking on several aspects such as Chief Minister's breakfast scheme. It's not just about midday meal, but breakfast being provided to children in government schools. Then a monthly dole or assistance of 1,000 rupees for women, for 1.3 crore women every month. That's being given. Then in addition to that, free bus rides for women. So these are some of the welfare schemes. And let's also tell you that the DMK is a legacy party, an establishment giant, which has a well-oiled election machinery. So that is something that cannot be taken lightly, even in the face of actors coming into the fray. Saleh.
You know, Siddharth, let's also talk about AIA-DMK and how exit polls haven't given them the kind of results perhaps that the AIA-DMK alliance would have expected. And for EPS, of course, it's, you know, it's a very, it's almost like a litmus test after considering the fact that he had a rift with OPS and then, of course, you know, the entire expectation falling on him. Do you think that the AIA-DMK would perhaps, you know, if not entirely regret, but rethink its alliance with the BJP, which is considered a pro-Hindi, a pro-Northern party, largely at the center of Dravidian politics?
Well, it's about survival. So this is basically the art of politics, right? It's about being in power. It's about survival. It's about ensuring the longevity of one's party. So there is no political untouchable per se, because the AIDMK, when confronted with this question, has often said that the DMK has no right to lecture us about allying with the BJP because, you know, during the Vajpayee government, Lok Sabha government, that time it was essentially the DMK which supported the Vajpayee government. So the AIDMK now maintains that the DMK has no right to lecture us about allying with the DMK. So that's the stance that the ADMK has taken, saying there are no political untouchables. And this is something that M. Karunanidhi had once said when the DMK allied with the BJP. Even then the BJP had similar image. But then the DMK did ally with them and formed a national government. They ruled at one point in time. So now the ADMK says that you did it once, why can't we do it? So as much as BJP does not get a great number of votes, last time in 2021 they managed to get 4 MLAs. This time, of course, they're trying to improve that number. While they don't have a significant political presence in Tamil Nadu's political landscape, let's tell you that the fact is both major parties here have had alliances with the BJP, and now given the BJP's national footprint, it's only natural that the party wants to sort of gain a greater foothold here, and the AIDMK was the most favorable party for them to go for an alliance because the party was significantly weakening post 2016, which is the demise of J. Jayalalitha. So wherever the BJP sees a fertile ground, so I think they make the most of it. So that's what we can interpret from the AIDMK BJP alliance.
Siddharth, let's also talk a little about Vijay's TVK, Tamilaga Vetri Kadagam. Now, this is a party that is making its debut. We do not know what sort of a splash it will actually make in the elections today. Now, in the event that TVK emerges as a potential kingmaker, are you able to pick up any indications as to which way TVK would sway? Would it want to go with the DMK or with the AIADMK? Any early indications as to which way TVK would want to pit itself in Dravidian politics?
As much as it is tough to speculate, let me say that as far as Vijay's campaigning goes, Vijay has been hitting out at the DMK the most. Vijay has been attacking the DMK the maximum and personally taking the name of Chief Minister M.K. Stalin and attacking him and his family. So Vijay's political stance has been such that he's been mostly anti-DMK. When it comes to AIDMK or BJP, he's not been as direct in criticism. He's been largely toning down his criticism of the AIDMK and BJP, and this is being seen with suspicion in many quarters. Because Vijay in fact reasons that the ADMK and BJP are insignificant insignificant players, so I don't want to attack them. My competition is the ruling party, so I only want to take on the ruling front. The others are anyway rejected by the people, so I don't want to take them on. So this has been Vijay's political outlook overall, and this is how he's been campaigning. But of course, with regards his kingmaker role, we'll have to clearly wait and watch. Perhaps Vijay has something in mind and he's not been clearly expressing any of that, and given the structure of that party itself, it's a little too hard to tell because of how power is extremely concentrated at the top and within a very limited circle, and given how Vijay is not accessible, so it's hard to exactly tell what Vijay has in mind. But the fact remains that this is an election that has to be closely watched because of TVK's impact, as you pointed out, whether they will be king or whether they will be kingmaker. What will be Vijay's role in the political landscape? It's going to be interesting, and perhaps in another 15 minutes we'll start knowing what the outcome is. Saleh.
That's right. Siddharth, before we let you go quickly, talking about Vijay and how his impact would play out in these election results, every pollster that went there before the exit polls, said that it's the age group between 18 and 29 and, towards 30s, early 30s, that is vying, that is supporting Vijay. In fact, they also said that children as young as 7 and 8 years old were telling their parents and elder siblings to vote for Vijay, otherwise they won't talk to them. That's the kind of youth support that Vijay perhaps enjoys. But as far as what works for him would be considered, what would you say that would be? What would work for him if he ends up getting a substantial number of seats?
As far as Vijay is concerned, he's not been campaigning like a conventional politician. Vijay has been campaigning largely in cinema style. If you look at the way he's been campaigning, it's mostly what is commonly regarded here as punch dialogues or those high impact dialogues that he's been using to campaign, often using jokes, often using light-hearted jabs at his opponents. So that's the fashion in which he's been campaigning. He's been appealing to the younger crowd. So this is what Vijay has largely been doing. As you pointed out, Vijay's main bet is on the young voters, on women voters, and those who've grown up seeing him on screen. So Vijay has had a 3 decades plus long career in cinema, and he did not campaign like a conventional politician who comes out saying, vote for me, I'll do this for you. Vijay is campaigning saying that give me a chance, give me just one chance. I'm offering an alternative. The DMK and the ADMK are the same. He's been saying that these two parties are just carbon copies of one another, which in certain ways is true because the ADMK broke away from the DMK and came apart, and they're all products of the same ideological movement. But Vijay has been positioning himself slightly differently, and he's saying that give me a chance to express my gratitude to you because the people of Tamil Nadu made me who I am. So give me a chance to express my gratitude and return whatever you've done for me so far. So this is a very unusual pitch for a politician. No politician campaigns this way. What Vijay has done is he's appealed to the sentiments of the people. He's promised different things. He's promised aid for unemployment youth. He's promised several other welfare measures. In addition to that, what he's also told is that he's promising a drug-free Tamil Nadu, he's promising strong law and order, then even in terms of education and women protection, he's offering much more. And this is what we'll have to see. What kind of impact does it have on the young voters, and will they be swayed by an actor? Because for a long time after Vijay Kant or J. Jayalalitha, there's not been a big actor. Of course, Kamal Haasan did foray into politics, but things did not go as expected. Now he's an MP, a nominated member of parliament, but the fact remains that electorally Kamal Haasan did not win any election. He's only a nominated MP now. So we'll have to see what impact Vijay has, and if he does have a serious impact, this poll, it will be seen as a great achievement because he's barely above 50 years of age and he has a long road ahead of him.
Indeed, hold that thought, Siddharth, because the counting of the votes will begin in roughly about another 7 minutes now. It's 7:53. Shreya, this is the moment. First we'll start off with the postal counting of the ballots, postal ballots, and then 1 hour through the counting process, you'll start to get these figures, which will probably be much more concrete. This time, like Siddharth was pointing out, Vijay is not the first Tamil actor who's trying to test his fortune in politics. Kamala Hassan, the most recent entrant, he tried to make a splash. He could not make an impact. Before that, there was Talaiva, Rajnikant, probably the biggest Tamil superstar. A lot of people thought that probably he would take a plunge in politics.
Yeah,
the
but he
BJP was very actively trying to woo him. They tried to get him into their camp. He tested the waters, but then he did not jump into the political waters of Tamil Nadu because it's not that easy enough, with people having become much more aware of what cine stars are. Cine stars are cine stars, and that is how they are looked at. But serious politics.
But I'll tell you what,
completely
Saleh, the same logic would apply to the DMK and AIDMK, that people are more aware, it's the digital era, and so they would know that, okay, you know, if Vijay doesn't have the kind of experience that perhaps a DMK or an AIDMK have, we're also seeing the work that both DMK and Stalin government and AIDMK have been doing. And if we're not happy with that, we might just end up giving a chance to a new entrant and see what he does.
We'll have to wait and watch, because remember, 2026 is also another very crucial year. There is talk of delimitation that is taking place in national politics, and in southern India, the talk of delimitation is electric, because any northern party which says that, listen, we'll come and change the way the number of seats are, is not going to curry favor with a lot of people in the southern part of India. Thank you very much indeed, Siddharth MP. We'll of course come back to you again in just a bit from now. This is a crucial moment, the big moment where 4 states and 1 union territory will of course get to know the results in some time from now. The counting of votes will begin just about 5 minutes from now, Shreya.
That's right. So 8 a.m. is when we're expecting to first have the postal ballots being opened and counted, and then 8:30 onwards we'll have the EVMs. Postal ballots will be a little slower process, but EVMs are a quick process, and we'll get to know in another couple of hours where these elections are headed, whether it's Tamil Nadu, whether it's West Bengal, Kerala, Puducherry, Assam. All of these battlefields right now remain the most exciting battlefields in India. The entire country has its eyes on them. And Saleh, for our viewers, of course, they also have to understand that West Bengal and Assam, 2 states that have had illegal immigration as the central focus of campaigning.
That's a huge issue.
So that's
an electric
huge
issue. And a lot of people, in fact, will say that is the most dominant issue in the politics of both Bengal and Assam. We'll have to see as to how that plays out. Because remember, the Bharatiya Janata Party has been harping on that, listen, there is a problem of illegal immigration. But, the other leaders will turn around and say, but who's responsible for guarding the borders of India? It is Amit Shah, the Home Ministry, that has been in power for the last 12
these
years.
are political arguments that both sides have been given, and we will, of course, keep getting you every argument, every move, every direction that this election result day is taking. It's an exciting day on WION. We're getting you every update from each of these battlefields. Right now, we're slipping into a short break. We'll be back in a short while.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime is your front row seat to darkness. Get the latest updates.
Destroy their
breaking
missiles
news.
and raise their
Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is one.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
vielleicht nur als Imposanz.
Well, the time is exactly 8 o'clock in the morning. It is from this moment that the counting of votes, of course, begins. This is our big coverage on WION, where we are tracking the election results in the 4 states and the 1 union territory of Puducherry. My name is Mohammed Saleh. With me is Shreya Upadhyay. Shreya, this is as big as it gets. You know, we were talking a little about how Indians are very political in their approach to begin with, and it does not get bigger than this.
That's right, it doesn't get bigger than this, and in fact, it's 8 a.m. now, so this is when the voting begins, the big day that everybody has been waiting for. The entire country has its eyes on this very day when election result for each battlefield will be out. It's 8 a.m. and now the postal ballots will be counted. Counting has begun. The postal ballots will be opened and then the EVMs will be counted. And of course, we will be getting you our ground coverage as well as expert analysis on WION right here. But first, a quick look at the top stories that we're tracking this morning.
So the counting of the votes has begun. The high-stakes battles that have been sealed in the 2026 Assembly elections in West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Kerala and Puducherry, with strict security measures in place across the counting centres.
United Airlines plane hits lamppost and delivery truck while landing at Newark Liberty International Airport. Officials say the Boeing 767 landed safely after arriving from Venice. No injuries reported on the plane.
The UK's Maritime Agency reports a tanker was hit by unidentified projectile off the coast of the United Arab Emirates near the north of Fujairah. All crew members are reported to be safe and all ships have been warned to proceed with caution while the authorities are investigating the incident.
Donald Trump says that United States representatives are holding very positive discussions with Iran about resolving the war. In his post on Truth Social, he added that the talks could lead to something very positive for all.
Iran's Revolutionary Guards say that the United States must choose between an impossible military operation or a deal with Tehran after Trump dismisses Iran's peace proposal. Iran's Foreign Ministry has said that it has submitted a 14-point plan to end the war permanently.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says U.S. is suffocating Iran's leadership with economic blockade tied to Trump's maximum pressure policy alongside military campaign Operation Epic Fury and Treasury initiative Economic Fury.
And Israel issues new evacuation warnings for more than 10 villages in southern Lebanon, including in areas of Nabatea. Despite a truce with Lebanon, Israel has continued with its bombings in Lebanon. At least 1 more person has been killed and 4 others been wounded in the last 24 hours. All right, so this, of course, is the big moment, Shreya, the moment that we were talking about. The wait is over and the counting of votes is currently underway. The first, it is the postal ballots that will, of course, be opened and counted. And by 8:30, that is when the EVM boxes will be brought out and they will be counted. The counting of the votes will happen fairly fast. And probably by 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we must have a pretty clear picture of which way the people in these 4 states and 1 union territory have voted.
That's right. Let's begin with West Bengal, Saleh. It's an extremely crucial battle. The entire country has its eyes on it. Mamata Banerjee is looking at a 4th term. The BJP is trying to break that rule of hers. Whether anti-incumbency and other issues go against Mamata Banerjee, we'll have to wait and see. The BJP, of course, leaving no stone unturned this time around to make sure that it reaches out to voters. Whether that has worked or not, we'll know today. As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, of course, the exit polls have given MK Stalin and the DMK alliance the path to victory. Whether these numbers hold or not, another litmus test, not just for Stalin, but the man that you see at the center of your screens, Vijay, he is being touted as either the king or the kingmaker. We'll have to wait and see what happens through the day today. And of course, EPS, the AIA, DMK and BJP alliance, which are trying to increase their numbers. We will, of course, get to know what that result comes to as well. Let's also shift our focus to Assam now, another important state. Himanta Biswa Sarma looking at his Mama Magic, Saleh, to help him once again. A lot of popularity that he enjoys, but whether that popularity has translated to votes this time around as well for him, at least the exit polls gave him the numbers. Whether those numbers hold true through the day today, we will, of course, get you.
In Assam, just to dwell a bit on that, this is an election of missed opportunities for the Congress party because Himanta Biswa Sarma has been in power for about 10 years. There were murmurs that probably people may want some kind of change within Assam, but that probably may not happen. We still have to wait and watch as to what the numbers actually are, because this, for the Congress, in a state, once it loses power, it seems completely incapable of clawing its way back. This is something that the Bharatiya Janata Party has done really very well. Every time it has managed to gain power in a state, it has effectively decimated all the other political players. It has done this in Maharashtra, it has done this in Bihar, and it's also done effectively in Assam as well. But can it now do this in the big state of West Bengal? Because for Mamata Banerjee, the stakes cannot be higher. She's no longer in the ascendant. She's someone who's trying to hold on to her turf. If she loses this election, it is a few years of political wilderness that Mamata Banerjee would be staring at, and that of course is going to be seen as to how things unfold. But this, in many ways, is a crucial election for the BJP as well, because it has expanded as far as it can. But can it now expand into these newer areas where it has not been able to do in the last 12 years at the peak of the Modi wave?
That's true. And, West Bengal is also important because if you look at the 2021 Assembly election, Saleh, in West Bengal, the BJP itself would have told you that, look, we're not looking at a majority or we're not looking at a very strong performance. We're just trying to make inroads. But this time around, the game has completely changed. They've gone all out. You had a lot of effort being put in by the top leadership, by their star campaigners to make sure that the voter, the last standing voter, is reached out. But here's where pollsters say the difference lies. The TMC already has a strong ground cadre. Trinamool Congress has been there for 15 years. Even before that, even before they came to power, when the left was in power in West Bengal, they were building up their cadre on ground, and that has worked through the years, as opposed to the BJP, which doesn't have a very strong cadre and a local leader network as strong as the TMC. They might say that it's stronger than 2021, but not as strong as the TMC right
this
now.
is the criticism that BJP seems to have no answer to. Their biggest star campaigner, Suvendu Adhikari, is a former TMC man. He's a close aide of Mamata Banerjee. The fact that the BJP has not been able to grow its own leadership in the state, that's going to be telling as to how it performs. Let's also, Shreya, go across to our reporters. I'm told that we have Dharamjot Kaur, who's joining us on this broadcast. She's, of course, been traveling the length and breadth of West Bengal. And we also have Siddharth MP, who's joining us at this moment from Chennai. But Dharamjot, let me in fact start with you. This is a high-stakes moment in the state of West Bengal. It cannot get bigger than this. Give us a sense of what the mood is like out there. How confident is Mamata Banerjee of coming back as the Chief Minister for a 4th time?
Well, I think that's a question, Saleh, that only Mamata Banerjee can answer, and only in a few hours from now. I think it's too early for even her to tell you what exactly lies in her political fate as far as the assembly election is concerned. But just to give you an idea of what the entire capital, Kolkata, looks like, we're not even talking about the interiors of West Bengal, just Kolkata for that matter. The length and breadth of this city has been barricaded, and it's been barricaded for the past couple of days. We have the local police here. We have on the other side of this particular Netaji Indoor Stadium, the CFPF personnel who've been here for a few days now. So this city in itself has become like a fortress, and if we didn't know better, it would seem as if there's some sort of a military operation going on, but in fact only is an election counting day, which is business as usual in other cities and states, but not in West Bengal. And I think that tells you exactly how high octane and how important this entire election is, and also how careful a lot of security personnel are being in terms of trying to avoid and evade any sort of violence or clashes between workers of the two parties or their supporters for that matter. But again, it's relatively peaceful this morning, Saleh, still very early on. The day has just begun. How it progresses in terms of the numbers, and if at all they have anything in similarity with the exit polls, that's something we'll find out in a few hours from now.
Dharanjot, good morning. Shreya here. As far as the heavy deployment is concerned, I think it's also pertaining to the fact that West Bengal in the past has never really seen a non-violent election as far as the state assembly is concerned. And in fact, this is perhaps the first one, at least in modern West Bengal history, that we are seeing that no death has taken place. And of course, these paramilitary forces, these massive numbers of personnel who are deployed there are for that very reason. But as far as, both the TMC and the BJP are concerned, both of course are fighting it out tooth and nail. You're on ground. Get us a sentiment of what both parties are doing today. Usually what we see is there is already mithai and sweets and all sorts of celebrations that are being prepared for in the early hours of the morning of the vote count day. What are you seeing around you?
Well, Shreya, that's not just news of today. That's been happening for the past couple of days now. We're seeing massive preparations underway from both parties, both for whom the stakes are very, very high. Last evening, when I was back here at Netaji Indoor Stadium and a couple of other strong rooms in Kolkata, we had party workers and representatives from both parties, the BJP and the TMC, really getting involved in a verbal spat. And that was happening on an hourly basis. There's also updates today from another strong room that the TMC and BJP representatives who will be present at one of the counting rooms have already indulged in a verbal spat already. So, and that happened at 7 a.m. in the morning. So that's the kind of temperament we're talking about in the day. Yes, sweets have been prepared, but who is it really going to be a sweet moment for? Who is it going to be a bittersweet moment for? I think it's too early to call that out right now. We also have a lot of government institutions that are shut down for the day, so not a lot of people on the street. But the majority is staying at home just to ensure that they do not get in the way of what might or could turn out to be a not so peaceful process in case that does tend to happen. Kolkata, as I mentioned, it's a digital fortress right now, and clearly there's a lot of movement that's not allowed. In fact, we had to walk all the way here a couple of kilometers just to get to this point. So there are no vehicles allowed apart from election officials and police vehicles in this entire area, Shreya. But yes, a very, very high stakes battle, and who it's going to turn out for, yeah.
Dharamjot, hold on to that thought. Shreya, one of the defining images of the campaigning days was the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi eating jhalmuri, in the campaign of Bengal. And now remains to be seen as to who actually ends up eating
feels
sondesh.
The jhal. No, who feels the jhal
and sondesh in another 4 hours from now. And it's going to be very interesting to see, because it is an election that you simply cannot predict. The pollsters have put out their numbers, but this is the moment of the truth. And we'll have to wait and watch out as to how things, of course, progress from here on. Because at this moment, some of these agencies have started putting out numbers, but at this moment, viewers, bear in mind, go by the numbers that the Election Commission of India puts out on its official website, because those are the only reliable numbers. Because you'll see a number of these news outlets putting out numbers that are completely haywire, and they all start changing those numbers by 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But at this moment, it's important to talk about the issues of the people of Bengal, of Tamil Nadu, of Assam, Kerala, and also of Puducherry. Because remember, at the end of the day, people win elections not on the basis of what they promise, but on the basis of what they deliver. And for the last 15 years, since 2011, Mamata Banerjee has been in charge of the state of Bengal. It is one of those states that punches well above its weight politically. Mamata Banerjee is also an electric personality, someone who actually dominates, just through her presence on the national stage. And it remains to be seen. Let me in fact bring in Dharamjot Kaur here. Dharam, you've been talking to a lot of people within Bengal. The fact that this is an election where Mamata Banerjee, after having been in power for the last 15 years, is asking for another mandate. What are the crucial issues which have been dominating the minds of an average Bengali there?
Well, there's a myriad of them, Saleh, but I'll give you the top three. And number one on that list is jobs. We're talking across the spectrum, be it the rural areas or the urban areas. The youth and the younger generation is particularly concerned about jobs. The older generation is concerned about their children getting those jobs. So that's one massive area that people really want addressed in this particular state, because it's known for history, it's known for its culture, but it's not exactly known for providing a platform to people across industries, and that's something that's been severely lacking in this particular state. The other one, which is in a way linked to jobs, is investment, Saleh. And again, that's one major area that people do not see a lot of moolah trickling into West Bengal. And so they want to see industries, they want to see companies come here, and which in result will lead to more employment in this particular state. Whether that happens or not is the big question, because we've seen the TMC in power over here for the past 15 years. Industry development has not been at that scale that people are looking at. There's been a lot of focus on other things, but industry and employment have not been the areas that people are very much interested in. And that is something that the BJP, on the other hand, has also been pitting in terms of its manifesto and its promises, that if it is elected to power in the state for the first time in its history, mind you, then that is something, those are the two areas that they will definitely be looking at. The third major concern that people have on the streets of West Bengal is that of law and order. Right. Not much of which that they have been seeing in the past few years. That's a major concern. Keeping things civic, keeping things lawful, the rate of petty crime and otherwise just essentially keeping the streets free of crime. That's something that the people have not seen, and they really want to see that change in this particular state.
We also have to remember that the RG Kaur tragedy happened under this government, so there is that memory among voters as well. Let me quickly welcome our guests on the show, Mr. R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist, joining us from Bengaluru. Mr. Upadhyay, good morning. Good morning. The political parties in West Bengal would have us believe that fish eating and those fish photo ops would be the biggest issue. But what are you looking at as far as today is concerned? Who has more weightage? Who's going to be racing ahead and finally having that Shandesh at the end of the day?
Well, I think this is going to be a very, very interesting day of elections. I know it's like a circus which keeps coming every 3 months or 6 months, and we have a lot of fun. Of course, it's a great event for democracy in India. And all set for, I think, about 824 seats to be declared across the 5 states, that is West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam, and the Union Territory of Puducherry. This is a very vital round of elections for the opposition India alliance, because I think they have much at stake, much more at stake than the ruling BJP at the center. Because you have, West Bengal, where Mamata Banerjee is fighting to stay in the battle after 3 terms, and she's looking for a 4th term in West Bengal. And then you have Tamil Nadu, where M.K. Stalin is trying to get a 2nd term, which has never happened for DMK in the last 60 years. I mean, he's going to create some record if he's able to retain Tamil Nadu. Because as we know, in Tamil Nadu, it's always been a 2-party which are fighting. That is DMK and the AIDMK. But this time there is a very strong 3rd party headed by Vijay, which is giving a run for the money for these established parties. So I think Tamil Nadu is also very interesting to see that way. And Assam is also going for elections, which everyone has predicted that the BJP will be able to retain power there. And in Kerala, we see that there could be a change. That is what the exit polls are saying, that LDF might be on the way out and UDF might come in, and the Congress might find a toehold once again in Kerala. And overall, I think the Congress has much at stake. because it's only in Kerala that they have a chance. And in West Bengal, they have been wiped out last time. They had 0 seats. And it's not looking very good for the India alliance, because you see, in West Bengal, they're fighting against each other. You have a TMC fighting Congress, and also the left parties. And in Kerala also we have Congress fighting against the left parties, whereas they're together in the alliance. And I mean, this is a oxymoron that we have lived with, and we have to
But
see
Mr.
how things turn
Upadhyay,
out.
during the campaigning, Mamata Banerjee had the likes of Arvind Kejriwal come and campaign for her. At least the opposition alliance was trying to put up a united front.
Well, we all know what is the credibility that Kejriwal carries now, and probably that is not really going to help Mamata Banerjee to a great extent. Mamata is a feisty, leader. I'm sure that she'll be fighting on her own. And don't forget that in the last round as well, that is in 2021, all the exit polls, most of the exit polls had gone wrong. In fact, they had Mamata Banerjee much less number of seats, but she crossed 200 very easily. So that could very well happen this time as well. And one can't rule out Mamata Banerjee's popularity because for 15 years she has ruled with an iron hand. And but this time the problem is that she's facing multiple problems. On the economy going down, employment. Unemployment becoming a very big issue, and there is also the question of SIR, which has really struck lightning, I think, on the TMC, because over 10% of the voters have been wiped out of the electoral roll, which election commission found there were either dummy voters, or ghost voters. I mean, I think it was a very long delayed exercise conducted by the election commission. The election commission led by Yanesh Kumar deserves to be congratulated, because they have done a job which is very much required. For more than 20 years, the SIR has not been done. That is a special intensive revision of voters, and you had multiple lakhs and lakhs of people whose names just remained on the voter list, and which would have been misused by the political parties. But I think this time that has not been possible anywhere in all the states where the elections have been held. And I think the West Bengal government, that is TMC, will find it very, very difficult to push through any kind of a dummy votes, and that's a big challenge for her.
Mr. Upadhyay, this is, to dwell a little bit more on what is happening in Bengal. You mentioned about SIR and as to how this will have a big impact. But the fact is the Bharatiya Janata Party is the underdog in Bengal. It is trying to push forth candidates. A lot of them are actually candidates who've broken away from the TMC. The fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party has not been able to grow its own leaders on the ground in Bengal, to what extent do you think it dents the chances of the BJP? Because even through this campaigning this time around as well, it has predominantly relied on leaders from Delhi doing the heavy lifting for them to try and convince the Bengali population to vote for the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Well, these kind of challenges BJP has faced, and they're able to, break through new grounds. And we have seen what they did in Odisha just a few months ago. For the first time, they were able to come to power there, unseating someone like to the chief minister, who was there for five terms. So that has been the track record of BJP, and they have a machinery which works around the clock. And I think every election they prepare themselves very well, and of course they do push people from other parties to shore up their ranks. And Suvendu is definitely somebody who was with Mamata Banerjee, and now she's the face of BJP there. So I think it's a big challenge for the BJP, because see, in the Lok Sabha elections just about a couple of years ago, they didn't do all that well. Their number of seats went down from 18 to 12, and TMC was able to stage a comeback. So that being the case, it's not going to be very easy. because TMC has a cadre which can, probably do better than the BJP's. BJP probably doesn't have that kind of a cadre that the TMC has, and the good thing is that the Election Commission has been able to put together a very good police force throughout
Right.
West Bengal to make sure that the elections are free and fair. And we have seen that there has been very little violence in this round of elections compared to earlier elections where scores of people have been killed in violence.
Mr. Upadhyay, hold that thought. The time is 8:25 and it is in a few minutes from now that the EVM boxes will be brought out and the counting of the votes that have been polled in these EVM machines will of course be counted. Shreya, this is a big moment because what is now going to happen here in many ways will dictate politics of Bengal for a long time to come. There are other states as well. There are crucial states such as Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Assam, and also the Union Territory of Puducherry. But at this moment, the focus, of course, is on what many would say is a do-or-die battle for Mamata Banerjee, the street fighter of Indian politics, someone who's fought for so long. And she is an institution in herself, one of the most charismatic leaders who stood out even at the peak of the Modi wave. And it is her fate that is on the line today. MK Stalin in Tamil Nadu could create history because the DMK looks pretty strong. Edappadi Palanisami's AIADMK not as strong as what it would have hoped. Someone like Paneerselvam, someone who was a close confidant who grew under the shadow of J. Jayalalitha. He has broken ranks from the AIADMK and he joined the DMK this February. Very interesting election. The counting of the votes is currently underway. What we are looking at are these early trends and leads in some of these states, but these are still very, very early hours of voting. We'll have to wait and see as to how things unfold. We'll slip into a short break. More updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned to WION.
BJP has been given 144 to 160.